Hey, chat. How's it going? Hopefully, you're doing well, as I am. And it's Friday, and that means it is a Zeal stream. The first stream back since the winter break, so that is freaking awesome. Doing a little sand check here. Ooh. That's repeating my audio for the desktop audio. But stream started a little bit late because I was fiddling with some software stuff. Specifically the streaming software. I'm trying out the Twitch Studio streaming software. So I was fiddling around with the audio settings. That's good. Remember to hydrate, folks. Yeah, so I'm monitoring myself, so that's why I was repeating the audio. What I'm curious about is capturing the audio from the Stream Deck. It doesn't look like I can explicitly, which is a bit of a bummer. Yeah. I wish you can just turn on audio monitoring for yourself and keep it on. But it's weird. It's weird. So yeah. So welcome one and all. Yeah, we're streaming during a workday. And we're gonna continue working on some Elixir action. It's gonna be fun. We've been working, we've been building up that Notion API package for incrementally every 1 to 2 hours at a time during the stream. And I think we're almost done with it, we're almost done with the first iteration of it. So that's really, really cool. Let's see here. So let me see if I can try to get some music going in the background. Hopefully the music is not too loud. And let's see. Try to sound check that. But I don't hear it. All right, well, we have a little ambient noise in the background. I can't hear the music myself. Let me see if I change things around, because I want to hear the music too. I mean, don't we all like coding to music? So I'm going to try to increase this volume a little bit, and I am going to switch this output setting to go to this audio channel. No, not that audio channel. Oh, and then string closed caption just reminded me to turn it on. Woohoo! That's a feature I was working on for a while now, and it worked. Roughly 5 minutes after going live, it went in here and was like, "Hey, don't forget to turn on." So that's really cool. So let's go and forward the music here. And then I need to go and change this setting over here to forward to the default. And we'll try to go with that. So machine learning model that watches the stream and checks if the streamer is still on their intro scene before sending the message. When? No. So That was an original. That was an original thing that way back when at Rat with the Shotgun, I was thinking about doing. But this workflow is 100% more simplistic than that. What this workflow does is it just subscribes to the stream's webhook. So it registers. So the user checks a checkbox on on their settings, and it subscribes to the go live event for the webhook. And then when the streamer goes live, the webhook gets called. So it will register it'll register a job, and it will wait 5 minutes from the time that it received the message. And after 5 minutes, it will kick off and check if they are. Yeah, but isn't it more fun with the literacy over engineered though? It would be. So actually, so there's some other stuff I want to do, but with this one, it's just super simple. And once the job gets called, it checks if they're active on the platform by checking their presence. And if they don't have it turned on, then they send the chat message. What I want to do though is I do want to fiddle with some stuff with OBS WebSocket, the JavaScript, because since I have OBS WebSocket integration, what I want to do is configure it so that they can register it can read the scene, through the JavaScript library. It can read the scenes that the user has, and if they can choose. What I want to try to do in the future is they can choose which scenes they want to pause the closed captioning for. So the OBS WebSocket client, if it'll get a message that, if they have it connected, if they switch scenes, and if that scene matches the name of a scene they want to be muted, then the JavaScript will pause publishing messages to the backend, so that so it's like auto mute. So because that's the caveat to the current implementation is, it's always on regardless of whether you walk away from the computer or not, or you go to a be right back screen, that the stream that mutes the mic scene wise, but because it's not integrated with OBS that way, it's still, publishing messages. So that is one thing that I was thinking about doing. And if anyone's tuning in and they're kind of wondering what the heck are they talking about, let me pull up some stuff. So we're talking about Stream Closed Captioner, which is a ongoing project that I've been doing myself, that does the closed captioning for Twitch, which is what I got the chat message for, and what I need to turn on right now, because I just made a reminder for myself. So yeah, that's it in a nutshell. Oops, a little too loud. Oh. Like 3% maybe. Yeah, so it's working. It seems like it's working, and let's see how many people have registered webhooks. So I just have like a very simple thing in my admin dashboard that actually says how many people have like generically registered for event sub webhook events. And so far it's been 326 channels, minus 3 because like I've tested it with my channel, my bot channel, and then this channel for the stream, or Coding Zeal's Twitch channel. So minus 3. There's technically 123 unique people outside myself. I haven't heard any bad news, so no bad news implies no good news. So it would just work for me. So I'm hoping it's working for everyone else too. But all right. What was going on last time? I mean, the last commit we made was 3 weeks ago, back right before Christmas, I believe, or the one like the week before Christmas. By the way, Rat with the Shotgun, how you doing? Hopefully you've been doing good. And oh yeah, and like a small shout out for Rat with the Shotgun. If you don't know who Rat with the Shotgun, he, well, it's technically Rat with a compiler, right? Rat with the compiler is the developer for the closed caption plugin in the OBS closed caption plugin. So like mine, but for OBS. And what? Clarky coming in with a crazy fat raid. Okay, hopefully this doesn't like blow out my ears. Let's see. That did blow out our ears, sorry. Clarky coming in with the 31-person raid. Thank you very much, Clarky. How you doing? How's it feel? I'm glad you recovered from COVID, and you know you're ramping up the streams again. How's it feel to you know, be better? You know, how's it feel to get back into it? Stuff. But thank you very much. Hopefully you had a great stream. If you don't know who Clarky is an awesome streamer, a development streamer, an awesome person just in general. Does some phenomenal fun streams to watch. Loads of activity, loads of interactive chat stuff. So he's a great, and it's all homegrown, home built stuff. So it's really awesome. Feels great. Nice. Super nice. Yeah, I've been lucky not to get COVID yet, but I took the Moderna booster shot, and that actually made me sick for a couple days. I was like so exhausted. Like I didn't have any cough or anything, but I was like so exhausted and just out of it and brain fog for a little bit. Like the booster shot did me dirty more than the regular vaccination shots. It's been too long. It's been good, you know, trying to, you know, with the new year, trying to get back into new habits, new cadence, and you know, new you know, like new goals, new inspirations. So looking forward to the new year, looking forward to you know, just having fun, right? Doing the same things, but in a different way and a different perspective. So it's been great. Yeah. So we were just, thanks everyone for coming in with Clarkio's raid. We were just giving a small shout out to Rat with the Shotgun on Twitch, but Rat with a Compiler on GitHub. He is the developer of the OBS Captions plugin that many people also use, that directly adds captions to your, integrates captions into OBS directly so that it's natively supported on Twitch. So it's definitely, you know, an alternative to my caption solution, which is great. More options, more solutions, great for everyone. So yeah, super awesome person, does some solid, great work. Check that out if you are curious about that. Super cool. Yeah, so getting back to the Notion stuff, last time we were here, it looks like the last thing we touched was the Notion search API endpoint, and looks like we wrote like some simple tests for that. And let's see if all our tests still pass. And they do. 22 tests pass. Nice. Let's go ahead and pop over to the Notion API documentation. Let's see their changelog and stuff like that. Let's see if anything's changed since we've been doing work. Last change was 23 days. Last major change update thingy was 23 days ago. We just completed the search. And yeah, it looks like there's no other updates, at least from the changelog perspective. So that means we might have all the endpoints implemented. We have stuff for base, blocks, database pages, for the pages. So database, page, blocks, users, and then we also have a search one, which I think we did at the top level right here. Just simple search. Yeah. Not bad. Not bad. So I'm curious to see what our documentation is going to look like. So let's try to generate our documentation. I don't think I've updated the, let's see, we support all block actions, support search. We did all those. I know we didn't support all users because I believe users retrieve user token. Retrieve the user token bot user did not return back the documented proper payload. So we kind of punted that back. So let's take a look at our documentation. And API reference search here, documentation can generate xdoc. So we're generating from xdoc, yeah. I already forgot what command we need to run in order to generate stuff. I know it's like an auto command, but this is a good opportunity to update the documentation to go through the steps of release. Release process. Let's go to Elixir's official documentation on library guidelines. Using config stuff, I think we don't have to worry about that. We have that set up. Avoid compile time application configuration. Avoid macros, avoiding your process code organization. Okay. Publishing. Let's look at xdoc then. Project documentation with the mix docs, produce process. Let's see. So generate. To generate documentation. Ooh, Lily Hazel in the chat. How's it going, Lily? I'm doing pretty good. How about you? How's everything been? It's been a little bit since I've seen you. Hopefully you're doing well. Hopefully work's been good. It's been a while, yes. But it's been a wee bit. So to generate documentation, we do mixed docs. So let's try doing that. Ooh, we have a bunch of warnings. That's not good. It's going well. Life has been interesting. Work hasn't been, but it's okay. I'm starting a coding bootcamp in 2 weeks. Ooh, a coding bootcamp. What's the curriculum like? Do tell. Is it like is it like a local coding bootcamp, or is it one of those like big name ones too? All right, so we have our documentation built out, but I want to take a gander what it looks like. So what we can try to do is we can try to run npx was it http serve, and we want to serve the index HTML. Just to boot up a little web server that's using that as our using this, our index page, so we can see what it looks like locally. It did receive a request. Oh, I wonder if we're colliding. Are we colliding with our bot? No, we're running on 8081. It's here at the University of Oregon, 6 months. I didn't 6 months. I didn't have it in my push for a 3-month one, as I'm likely working throughout. Okay. And focus on the MERN stack with classes twice a week. Okay, cool. So it's okay. So it's one of those. It's yeah, the weekend warrior or the nighttime warrior type of like coding boot camp where you can still work and do it. It seems like 6 months is a good pace for that spread of time because you're just doing it twice a week. If you were to try to compress twice a week into 3 months, no, that's going to be really tough. At least either that or they would have to cut down the amount of stuff you would learn. They expect 35 to 40 hours a week. So that's probably so that's like 35 to 40 hours a week of you doing work on stuff, right? You're not in class for 35 to 40 hours a week. I mean, that's not feasible, right? Especially for two classes a week. Yeah, 35 to 40 hours, like on night times and weekends is manageable. Yes, it's stressful and it's a commitment, but it's you want to go for it. 10 hours in class plus 25 hours of homework, challenges, portfolio. Yeah. And of course, if you're already familiar with coding and stuff like that, 25 to 30 hours might be less than that, because if I mean, you've already had exposure therapy to code in general. Yeah. Been coding for the past few, yeah. So you're gonna be a lot. It's gonna be a lot better. A lot of that extra time can be spent fine tuning the craft of what you're learning, right? Instead of just learning it, but getting better at it instead, which is cool. Okay, so doing this did not work. How about if we do docs? Ah, there we go. So this is what the documentation will look like. And here's the API reference. Nice. This module contains functions to interact with and modify Notion blocks. Module to interact with Notion databases. Module to interact with Notion pages. Options for filtering results. I'm not sure if this title header makes sense for us. How's your stuff been going? What are you working on now? Notion API package development. So on the Friday streams, we've been building up and working on a Notion, an Elixir package for Notion to integrate with to use the API with an Elixir. That's what we've been doing incrementally, and we've implemented basically all the different endpoints at this point. So I wanted to, or what I'm doing now is I'm just generating the documentation because Elixir makes it really easy to generate documentation. All of this documentation that we see here for these modules, and if we go, excuse me, if we go into like blocks here, all this documentation here was generated off of if we go into our blocks file here, you see we have these documentation headers on these different module methods that we can use. Thank you. And we can see like it just generated this documentation for us for a user. So at this point, I'm just auditing documentation, making sure it makes sense. Maybe we tweak a couple things because I definitely want this to be as friendly as possible for anyone to try to use with my limited knowledge set of Elixir. Yeah, but other than that, working on this, the same old with working on Stream Close Captioner, working on that. That's entirely rewritten in Elixir, but I think you tuned in at some point when we were working on that and adding new features to that. The most recent feature being a remind me feature after going live if you forgot to turn it on. So that's been the niftiest, most impactful feature to date. That's definitely the most impactful feature that we've added in several months. Several months. And then I still need to make a little announcement video on that. I tweeted about it, but I want to make a little video talking about it. So Thin Notion API documentation, Thin Notion API. So that one. So this one doesn't make. This one is Notion. Notion API. But have you worked on anything fun? You have any fun ideas that you're going to be working on, you know, on the side for your side projects? Something like that? Lily? So let's see. So this one says functions not specific to any particular model in the Notion API. Such as search. Do. Keys for the search API. Okay, I like this. I really like, so we started doing this pattern, the last stream, we started doing this pattern of creating a struct that contained the different API keys. And I really like this for the documentation, so people can see what the Notion what the Notion API, what these different things mean. I really like that. So instead of let's see, let's call this parameters for the Notion for using the search API. Hey, Lacoste, welcome to the stream. So Lily, I've got a few fun ideas. I have a plant that keeps trying to die. I got an Arduino and ordered a soil check thingy. I want to measure the soil, air temperature, water levels, and figure out what my plant actually needs. Since my house is probably insulated and I have some plants in 3 different pots in different rooms, they all have different problems. That's probably the biggest idea. That's really cool. Other than that, I want to build a bingo game still. I'm working on my new personal site as well as some smaller projects. Nice. Really cool. I remember Noopcat. She had created something similar to what you did. I think she did the exact same thing, but for her, she made an automatic plant watering thing. So it would check the I don't remember if she blogged about it. Hopefully she did. But she checked the soil, and when the soil was too dry or whatever, it spritzed it, because I forget what type of flower she had, but she had this flower that was very particular about like its moisture level and how much water it can get. So she automated that. So you could try reaching out to her too about it, and maybe she can even like point you in the right direction, or give you ideas of what you can do for to implement that. Nice shades, do is your monitor that bright? These are actually colorblind corrective glasses, indoor glasses, and they're actually not that shaded. It's just that they have a blue tint to them, so it looks really tinted, but they're actually not tinted at all. It's just that the blue tint on the glasses makes it look like they're super dark. Yeah, similar to the gunner glasses. Like, gunner glasses are pretty, like, instead of blue, it's this, you know, yellowish tint, right? But mine's blue, so it looks way more dramatic. You're colorblind in one eye. That's actually super, like being colorblind in one eye and then a lot being female and colorblind too is actually pretty rare. Most of the time males are colorblind. That this even exists. Yeah, I have a pair of colorblind sunglasses that are phenomenal. So I wanted to try the indoor colorblind sunglasses. If anything, they're really good, like indoor monitor glasses and stuff like that, because since they still do like UV protection and stuff like that, I feel like I get a little bit less eye strain in general. I have. How you like it? I like them. With the blue tint, I don't know, things seem like the colors and everything seem to pop more. So I think I like them. I don't know, because when I have them on, like the room and stuff like that, it kind of has like this yellowish tint in general to it. And then when I have them on, like everything feels a little bit more balanced. It feels like I'm looking at a movie screen, you know, because, you know, like when you look at a movie, like the world is like very blue and white on movies and stuff like that, because the colors are a lot more vivid. There's like less, like, I don't know how to explain it, because it's like from the perspective of a colorblind person, a red green colorblind person. Anything except actually standing up from the desk and going outside. Exactly. Exactly. So parameter for using the search API. Let's pull up filters. For filtering results. I wonder if this is generic enough, but I guess we can tweak that, figure that out later. Let's actually take a look at the official Notion documentation. Versus the other one. The best way I've been able to explain to people to give them an idea was there's actually a colorblind app in on I found a colorblind app on the iPhone that tries to emulate the different types of colorblindness, all like the 3 different types of colorblindness. And yeah, so I've shown them that. I'm like, hey, you know, this is roughly what I see, because like it's interesting, because like on that app, it has like 2 different camera views, one of like no filter, and then one with the colorblind filter right next to it. And oops, go here. So yeah, it has like two different filter screens, one with the regular one with the colorblind filter on it. And then I tell them like, yeah, basically these 2 views look basically identical to me. And then they look at it and they're like, whoa, you know, like, you know, the reds look this way, the browns look this way, the blues look this way, you know, and the greens look this way. I'm like, whoa, that's so crazy. I'm like, this is only an approximation. I don't have that severe of red green color blindness, but you know, this is pretty darn close to roughly what I see because of my red green color blindness, and it kind of blows their minds. Have I tried Obsidian? I have not. What is Obsidian, Obsidian, Lacoste? Let me look up the name of the app I use. Since it's starting a new year, I'm not I'm not like we're taking it easy for today. So the app is called Chromatic Vision Simulator, and this is for iOS. Oh, Obsidian, yeah, I've heard about it. I haven't used it. I've been using Notion for years. Yeah, at this point. So yeah, so this is like initially what the app is, and it's like, oh, default color vision, and then and then on the options below you could choose like, you know red green color blindness. So then you get the split view, one the top, the one right. This is normal vision, and that's color, and then this is like red green colorblind vision. So that it makes it really easy. It makes it really easy to show people, what you experience that don't know the difference. Yeah, because okay, so now we're going to talk about now we're going to get into mind blowing stuff, but it's like, your own reality is nothing but a perception based off sensory stuff, right? So it's crazy to think that, you know my reality, my perception of the world is completely different than, my wife's perception of the world, because colors are different. It's just crazy to think that, just purely based on vision, our perceptions of the world just can be so drastically different, just based off like not of different colors. So what I perceive as normal is different from what another person that doesn't have color blindness or has a different type of color blindness perceives as normal. Just think about that. I had no idea I was ever colorblind. I was just so Lily, yeah. So Lily says I had no idea I was ever colorblind. I was just getting an eye exam, and I was telling her that I know a magic trick, and if I close one eye, I see colors like this, and if I see the other eye, I see colors like that. And the look she gave me was was really. Does colorblindness have advantages? Um, Not that I know of, because most things. So colorblindness can be you could. It's a little bit of a stretch, but color blindness can be considered, depending on the color blindness you have, it can actually be considered a little bit of a disability, because so much in our world is categorized and bucketed based off of colors and shades of colors. So being colorblind can actually be a detriment, especially when it comes to even web development and design, because if you don't properly contrast colors and put distinct colors, I might not know what button to press. If all there is the differences between, one button with a different shade of red than the other one. I have a blonde retinas, and the other one, colorblind, is really visible in exams. And I really laugh even as I don't have pigments. Oh, we're smarter. You never know. You never know. Anecdotally, I think so, based off you know Lily and I. So by extension, probably true. Probably true. When getting into coding and CSS, especially, I've been lucky that I haven't had any issues with colorblindness with coding. Maybe with editors and stuff like that specifically. But definite with CSS and design has been. I pick hard. I pick hard. You know where it sucks too is shopping for clothes. Because before, when I used to go shopping for clothes, I would pick weird colors sometimes, which is so I would just default to just wearing neutral colors of like gray and black. I went for years and years and years. A lot of my wardrobe was just different shades of black. Sometimes I would make the mistake and pick a very dark blue, thinking it was black. Because of the dang lighting in the store. Struggling with stuff, yeah. Close one eye and have more accurate view, but yes, only wear black and gray. It starts showing some dark blues, yeah. So I always ask my wife, I'm like, hey, what do you think of this color and stuff like that. So So if she thinks I look good in the color, I'll just get it regardless of like what I perceive the color to be, because since my perception of colors are different, like wearing certain reds, maybe even wearing like a pink shirt looks like a different shade of pink to her than to me. So if she thinks I look good in it, then I'm just gonna just get it, because regardless of what I think, because my perception of the colors is more muddied than someone else's. Helpful partner, yeah. All right, back at it. Or back over to this. Bum, 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 bum. So I'm just wondering about filtering here. It looks like filtering is different for search versus filtering for the other ones. So I might just go ahead and change this and switch this to search filter params. So what does this Notion package do? So this is just a very thin wrapper around the API itself. So for example, this search endpoint is just just a simple function call to this, and it'll do a post request to the search API, passing in the params. So just to make it a lot easier, so you don't actually have to go and write everything from scratch just to do the request to Notion. Instead, this package will just be here, so you can just easily do a request to it. It's intentionally called the thin Notion API because I'm not going to do too much to the request. I don't plan on doing too much to the request, like the information for the request and the response, especially the response. I think I just want it to return back the response data, and that's it. Not try to like shove it into a struct and and try to format it that way. Just give it the raw output. And same thing with the input too. I don't want to try to do too much. Maybe just make it a little bit easy by validating certain keys that should be present on the request, but try not to do too much other than trying to like clearly document what that endpoint can take is what the plan is. All you have to do is configure your key and the version, and then let's see, where's the documentation? All you do is configure the key and the version, and then you can go ahead and make your requests. So it's a helper package. Yeah, it's just a client. It's just it's just a little client library for you to do the request. So this is an example, right? This is the exact example right here. You configure it, and then you can just go and fetch specific information about a database, just like that. Does that sufficiently answer the question? All right, so I was going to switch this up to say, we're going to call this, no, not in here, not in here, not in here. Whoa. Sometimes the undo redo for Vim is a little weird. Yeah, this is my second stab at writing an Elixir package, and there's nothing better about learning a language than trying to write a package, right? Because you want to try to make it clean, concise, and stuff like that. And I probably didn't code up certain things very well, or not perfectly, but it allows me to learn and get some feedback, stuff like that, and hopefully people use it. Got to get going for now, even though it's Friday. I have a lot of work to do. Have a great weekend. All right, Lily, thanks so much for stopping by. Glad you did. And yeah, hopefully you have a great weekend and you knock out that work quickly so you can go and relax. Sooner the better. And then we'll call this search filter params. We'll just be verbose about the naming of these different things. Search filter. Oh wait, I mean we ended up calling it sort params, filter params. So we ended up mirroring our our names for the files themselves. Params. Alrighty. So parameter options for sorting the search. Yeah, so we're just doing all this kind of like documentation maintenance and stuff like that, so that because since we've reached a point where we basically implemented all the endpoints, we could release this. So might as well, if we're going to release this, we might as well be as helpful as possible to users. And what's the definition of an Elixir package? It's the same as an npm package. Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, exactly. It's just a library that people can go and download, and then npm. It's funny because it's like npm, because we call it npm package because of the npm package manager, npm.js. And this is our go-to for npm to go look up a package for Node. For Elixir, it's hex.pm is the equivalent to that. So this is where you would go to host your Elixir packages, and Erlang too. On top, actually. But hex PM is our, and the nice thing about hex PM too is that it also has documentation. So just documentation is a lot better because documentation is a first class citizen in Elixir. But same difference, different names, same thing, same principle. So value of the property event, possible values of the object type include page and database, limitations. So let's see. Yeah. So all the documentation is all the same layout because of because of how Elixir is structured, right? All the documentation is generated off the comments, off the documentation header comments from the functions and the module. So that's what we're editing here, because all these edits here aren't just comments in general. These are actually pulled and generated as part of the documentation itself. We're filtering search results. And then perhaps we're using search API. So I have query, sort, filter, start cursor, page size. Let's see. So these are the parameters, and then search. This is the documentation for search right here. Okay, cool. So I think we got that a little bit better. And we're just gonna basically go, we're gonna go module by module and try to address everything in here. Go to our modules. This page is a type of block too, is not relevant. So block ID. And if you notice, it also auto sorts by alphabetically. So string type is what we get. Binary is also valid on what they were trying to do, but it's definite. But I like to use the string type because I think Elixir, the newer Elixir versions, are going that way anyway. Let's see here. So we're looking at retrieve block children. Oh yeah, we're not in databases. We're looking at blocks. Retrieve block children. And then, so block ID is a string. And then start cursor is a string and page size. And so what's going on here? True block children has no local return. So this error always trips me for a loop on, let's see, so. I think this has to do with the way I declared the typings. Can I do this? I forget. I remember we were fiddling around with this before. there we go. I've used doc blocks in PHP, but you need to do some work to make them useful. Oh, I feel like documentation generation for any library is always the more difficult thing to do. Usually, you're just kind of forced to just write up a README listing all the different like uses and stuff like that. But it's nice that with Elixir, you could, you can write up your README with some general information and instructions on how to do setup, and then you just have to do a couple examples of how to use it, and then because you're following the same structure, then people can go and dive in and look at the document, go and then look at the different modules to see how to use them, and then in those documentation headers, you can show an example of the usage right here as part of directly as part of the function. Yeah, so this matches up better because of the this is happy now because we can either pass in this information about the start cursor and the page size, or we can just pass in nothing. That we don't want to do any pagination type stuff. I guess what this technically does return back, if we were to, instead of any, this would be like okay, and like, you know, this would be a map. Because what get returns back. And then our parser is always going to return back an error and something. Because our response parser either matches on okay or error. So then the other alternative to this would be that we'd get back error. I'm not sure if we're going to get back a string as our error. I don't want to, but we can just say any because I'm just not sure. HTT poison, yeah. I always include the extra P in there too. It's a pretty nice library. HTT poison. I always say HTTP poison because it just flows better that way. But yeah, it's a nice straightforward library, and I have like some wrapper stuff to help with things to parse the requests because of the pattern matching in Elixir, which is nice that I've gotten from other libraries. This could probably be generalized into a typing too. Um, but for now, we will copy pasta. So we're going to switch from using binary to string again. We don't have the body params directly documented. Let's take a look at update block and see what the if we can do anything about that. If it's possible to try to create a type for this. So there's a key for archived, and then there's this, and then you can pass in an object. So let's take a look at this example here. Hey, anonymous chair with the single bit. Thank you very much, anonymous chair. It always makes you wonder who that person is, because every once in a while they come in here and they do one little bit cheer. So thank you. Cheers. So let's see here. So data. Like they have this example for archive, so it just makes me wonder. Only text is supported. Yeah, this is definitely a weird syntax here. Can just be an entire object. Don't spend everything at once. Yeah, I try not to. So this is a block object. And then this is the block right here, which is this. So object, never mind. This is object. And then the type. Yeah, this is definitely a weird syntax, because I know this is like supposed to be the name of the section, the block or something. Yeah, an object containing the type specific block information. And it's just this blob of information. So that is weird. So either we're dealing with with body params of the to do, or we're just doing archived. I think in the test, let's go ahead and let's try to see if we can peek at the test. Yeah, it's this whole paragraph block right here. So this typing is like, it can be based off the input, it can be archived. and that's a Boolean. Or it can just be just a generic map, which is kind of weird. This could probably use an example right here. This one too, yeah, so retrieve block. So retrieve block children can do this. And then where's retrieve block children? And then for update block, like that, and then update block, we'll copy this example from the test. I need to grab just up to here. Make sure I grab just that. Okay. So you have like a little example of what's going on. And then append block children. Let's take a look at that one. It takes in a block ID, which is a string, a list, children, an array, and an array of block children, which is children, then a bunch of information. So I just created a list and then I just did that. So this list is an array of maps, or it's a list of maps. Yeah, like that. And where is it? Where's our example? Here it is. Let's grab all of this. Indent all of this over. And grab this. Replace this. This. Just like that. I think that's good. And then finally delete is just the string, yeah. And we need an example for delete. Which is, sorry, there was like a little gnat on my mic if I blew into the mic too hard. Just like that. Okay, cool. ASMR, I know. All right. I think we have let's go ahead and actually let's run tests. Mix test. Okay, none of our changes to anything. So let's commit what we have. Update aiming for search types and update block types. Update blocks. Go ahead and sync our changes. On to the next one. From blocks, we go to databases. Very beefy response examples. I might just trim this down to like what we did before, where it's just kind of like an empty map. To have these very chonky example response dig the background music. Yeah, we're trying out a new I've been this is the second stream trying out a new playlist of songs, which is electro swing. So definitely a lot more jive and energy. Those listening to the VOD will not be able to hear the music. So they'll be like, what are they talking about? All right, so do we have a type spec for this guy here? It doesn't look like we do. At spec. Retrieve database. String T. And this is the same thing we just did with this. Actually, there's no symbol here. I let the autocomplete guide me and it failed me. It was treating it like TypeScript. You're missing out, pod viewers. Okay, so we added a little spec header here just to for you know, for typings and stuff like that to make everything nice and smooth like that. Very cool, very cool. We'll do the same thing for that spec. Query database. We'll let it autocomplete, although we don't have 3 arguments. We only have 2 arguments. I'm not sure why it did that. Let's take a look at query database and our arguments. We have parent. Oh, this is create, query. There we go. Database ID is just a string, that's good. And then the second argument is these body params, which is filter, sort, cursor, page size. So let's do we are going to do another typing here since it's a little bit more complex. It's similar to this, so we're gonna just copy and paste this file. Copy, paste. And then rename. Database query. Bottoms. Database query params, parameters for using the database query API. So we have filter, sort, start cursor, page size. So there is no query type. And then filter as the filter conditions, which is just as conditions on the property page include database query, a number filter conditions, select filter conditions. Oof. This is there's a lot of different conditions here. Let's see, let me take a look at this. So if they were doing a filter object, so checkbox, property done, checkbox, and then they have all these different filters, number, checkbox, okay. This is a very complex object. Because you can do ands and ors. And then compound, yeah. I don't think I'm going to try to annotate what this filter is right now, because it's really complicated. How about sort criteria? Sort criteria is easy. Property, timestamp, and direction. It's like one extra versus the this one. Hold on, let me get rid of query here. And then we're going to copy the sort file here, so we don't have to just make a module from scratch. Database query sort params. Parameter options for sorting the database query results. We have property, timestamp, and direction. They're all strings. Property. Booperinos. How's it going, Boop? Thank you very much for the sub. 36 months in a row. You're awesome. Give a little air horn to that. Blow out your ears at that. Wake up. Thank you very much. How you doing, Boop? How you been? So property, timestamp, and direction. And property, does it have anything? It's just a straight up string. String T. I am doing pretty good. I hope you had a wonderful Christmas and a happy new year. So colon property as one of the items on the struct. So timestamp can have created at and last edited time. So timestamp is actually an enum. The name of the timestamp to sort against its possible values is created time, last edited time. Okay. I'm just going to copy these two. I did. I start work next Monday, though. Ooh. Are you still working at... Are you still doing warehouse work, or are you... did you change things up? Still same thing? Gotcha. All good. All good. Alrighty then. So we have that documented. 5th year now. Nice. Hopefully I mean, if you're there for 5 years, it seems like they've been treating you well. So hopefully that's true. My assumption is true. All right, so we got filtering, start cursor, page size, all of that jazz and jazz and jazz and jazz. And then this can be thin Notion API types database query params. Or empty. Maybe the database query params, or we can just do empty. It's a true assumption. Nice. Very nice. You do anything fun during your break, vacation break? Go do any traveling or anything like that, or just hunker down at home and avoid any of the coronas? Rather stay home. This whole pandemic thing. Yeah. Don't need to take the risk. Yeah. Fair enough. Fair enough. Okay, so we've updated that. We have parameters set based off the documentation to provide a little bit of a guiding light for that. So that's good. Very good. On to the next endpoint. Let's go ahead and clean this up a little bit and we're just going to get rid of the example result. Just, you know, so our documentation isn't too noisy. Create database. Let's see here. So how did we decide to do this? Set parents. Why is this an atom? Here, let's look at the documentation here. So what endpoint is this again? This is the create a database. Okay. It's been so long since we've done this. Medium is such a stupid blog platform. Tells me I need to create an account to keep reading, but it's enough to just open the page in a private window. Yeah, because they're like tracking, like you can only read like what, like a couple articles a day or something like that. The thing that annoys me about that is like it ticks it off regardless of whether you've like just opened it, even though you didn't like scroll or do anything with it. That's the frustrating part. It's like, oh, I go to like I click a link to go and it takes you to a Medium article. I'm like, oh wait, this you know, not that it sucks. It's like, oh, I'm not interested, and then it counts towards it, and I'm like, ugh. 3 free, 1 extra if you sign up, unless you do some easy workarounds. Yeah, it's just still annoying because you have to just do that 1 extra step out of your routine. So type in page ID. I am honestly don't know why that this is set to an atom to be an atom. because in the end this is just a string. So it's like very confusing why I set this as an atom. I don't get what makes Medium so special. A few years ago, they claimed they wanted to revolutionize publishing. Not sure what happened since then. Heck if I know. New company visionaries. Yeah, lots of funding for whatever reason. Because they got a lot of funding because a lot of people went there. And in terms of back then, I'm not sure about still valid now, but the more clicks, the more eyeballs on your page, the more potential money you can make selling user data. That's all it is. The more users you can have that you can collect, scrape and collect all their information, the more money